It is time to bring forth she who must live, the old God, the true God, our God.
Necropolis, that wild series of movies where the main antagonist is a seductive witch named Eva. The original Necropolis came out in 1986, and the movie that we're talking about today, Necropolis Legion, came out in 2019. The funny thing is both Evas have something, let's just say, pretty unique going on in this area here, that thing here. Anyway, if you caught episode 6 of Empire of the Full Moon, you already know about the original Necropolis. In that one, Eva shows up with 4 extra boobs, 6 in total. In the 2019 sequel, Necropolis Legion, she trades those extras for something even wilder. Actual bitey, toothy little mouths where the nipples should be, and they will, for here on out, be bitey titties. But, so here's a big question, you guys. Can these movies still be good? Even though one of the main reasons a lot of us watch films like this are for regular, or for better yet, gloriously humongous boobs. Humongous? Well, you're about to find out. I mentioned the Deadly 10 back in episode 6. It was a really cool idea. 10 movies were going to be produced by Full Moon Features, and they were going to give a live stream, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we could just log on and watch, right? Necropolis Legion was actually one of these movies. I actually got to watch them shoot the big church scenes live, and it was pretty cool. It felt a little bit like being a Patreon supporter before I even knew what Patreon was, right? Just the other day, I was watching live streams for Buried Secrets. That wrapped up filming recently. I watched it for Robotica and strippers or models versus werewolves. I can't remember with the other one too. But I also did watch, I think I mentioned this last time, that I watched a little bit of the Grim Rapper too. But anyway, so like I said, I actually have been watching the live and the film behind the scenes stuff, and it's been really cool, man. And that's something, I mean, we all love Charles Band. We all love that he's always been steps ahead of people on this. Of course, the Deadly 10 got derailed when COVID hit and everything fell apart. We still got this film and a couple of others, but I was really looking forward to stuff like Bride of the Head of the Family and the Grim Rapper. Thankfully, like I said, a few projects did get finished. And so we had like Sortie Babes and the Slime Bubble Rama 2, Subspecies 5, Blood Rise, Familian, Cosmic Crush, and like I mentioned the other day, the Grim Rapper just wrapped filming just not too long ago. Anyhow, Necropolis Legion was written and directed by Chris Alexander, a name that if you've watched any of my shows or any of the Empire of the Full Moon videos, you should know who he is. I talked about him, I think last time in episode 32, when I talked about the Delirium magazine. He is actually the editor-in-chief of Delirium magazine. He's heavily involved with Delirium Home Video, and just an incredibly talented writer and filmmaker. I talked a lot about how much I love his writing in Delirium magazine and the books that he's put out too. But by the way, just as a quick update, I've been picking up Delirium home video releases. Like I talked about Doriana Gray. I got Love Camp. I got Love Letters of a Portuguese Nun. And I've actually, it's on its way, it should be here Wednesday, Satanic Sisters. So I'm pretty pumped about that. At this point, I've basically committed to the catalog and will continue to be. This film was also written by Brockton McKinley, who's actually done a bunch of Full Moon work, Evil Bong 666 and 777, Ouija's Halloween Night. So, yeah, this guy clearly has a lane. Well, this film stars Angie Duke as Lisa, a writer who moves into a haunted cabin and immediately makes a questionable life decision, which may or may not lead her into a dark world of madness. We have Ali Chappelle, who plays Eva, the vampire sorceress with a very distinctive upgrade. Wink, wink. Anyways, Eva's spirit tries to possess Lisa. Like I said, that's the bitey titty lady. And Lynn Lowry, actually, who I will always recognize as the nurse from Cronenberg's Shivers. She shows up as a good witch trying to help Lisa. She's got over 165 credits on IMDb, which is honestly kind of amazing. Also worth mentioning, Zoe Gorgeous and Stephanie Delorme. If I ruin those names, I apologize, because yeah, that's kind of hard. But anyways, they play gatekeepers. Basically, they hang around Eva while she's doing her rituals. Like, basically, they're just like glamorous cult background ornaments to the Bitey titty lady. Okay, so the story follows Lisa, a writer who moves into a remote cabin to work on a book about the local legend of Eva, an ancient vampire sorceress who supposedly achieved immortality through satanic, sexually charged blood rites, until, of course, the locals killed her, or so they thought. Because, of course, she has followers still trying to bring her back using what else? More satanic, sexually charged blood rites. As Lisa digs deeper, things shift into that I'm going to regret doing this, aren't I type territory pretty quickly. She starts having visions, blackouts, dreams that feel way too real. The more she learns about Eva, the more it feels like she never actually stayed dead and might be trying to come back through Lisa. And Lisa, she might already be the vessel. Sorry, that was bad. Enters Zia, a mysterious witch who clearly knows this is way above Lisa's pay grade. She tries to warn her, but as always, the warning comes in a not heeded until it was too late style. She's basically the crazy Ralph archetype of this story. Meanwhile, the cult keeps pushing forward with the resurrection ritual, so Lisa is left with one question. Is she being haunted, or is she already being replaced? My favorite thing about this movie, besides the Bitey titties, is the Chris Alexander touch. Throughout the film, Lisa experiences visions, blackouts, and flashes, and that's where Alexander really shines. Even though Necropolis Legion is more straightforward than his experimental films like Parasite Lady, Space Vampire, Scream of the Blind Dead, Draculon, all on Tubi, by the way, you can go check those out, he still sneaks in those like dreamlike hypnotic bursts of atmosphere. His other films, the ones I mentioned, are basically mood pieces. Sound, color, music, atmosphere first. Everything else second. They're kind of like closer to an art installation than a traditional movie. And honestly, I kind of love them for that. I understand that they're not for everyone and might be an acquired taste, but I'm down, man. It kind of reminds me a bit of Jess Franco. Actually, that connection just clicked for me. Not sure why I didn't make it before, but especially since Delirium Home Video literally has released only Franco films up to this point. I mentioned some of them, Doriana Gray, Love Camp, Love Letters of a Portuguese Nun, and most recent Satanic Sisters. Like I said, they're all coming. I can't wait till Wednesday for my Satanic Sisters to show up. But so yeah, it was right there the whole time. Fun nugget, by the way. Suspiria Villachez, who stars in Alexander's Draculon from 2025, also does all the art for the covers of Delirium Home Video. So I'd put that in your back pocket. I don't know what you're going to do with that information, but anyway. Even though Necropolis Legion is more narrative-driven than his usual work, there's still something slightly off about the acting in it, okay? Especially Augie Duke's performance. She played Lisa. Now, I don't even mean that as a criticism. I mean, it might be intentional, I think. I mean, it gives the whole thing kind of a restless, off-kilter feel, especially during Lisa's cabin isolation scenes. She spirals into whatever's happening to her, and she's kind of been awkward the whole time, so it's like, I don't know. Anyways, we can't talk about this movie without talking about Eva. We don't get a ton of depth in her history, but we get enough to know that she is bad news, but she owns the screen every time she shows up. And yes, the Bitey titties are very present. You gotta love her and her ornamental evil priestess sidekicks. And I always like when newer films, by the way, bring in established horror icons. Perfect Lynn Lowry was in this, and, you know, they did some behind-the-scenes stuff, and, you know, just really good stuff to talk. You know, it's interesting. You have all these new actors, or at least ones that I hadn't heard of before, and then you put them in the same movie as an established, basically, like I said, the nurse from Shivers, and, you know, kind of is a good little mixture there, and this movie's no different. Overall, it's a pretty enjoyable movie if you already vibe with Alexander's style. This feels like a more structured version of his usual experimental work, with just enough surrealism leaking through. It's a slow burn, dreamlike, low budget, and there are parts that you can you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, maybe those gravestones were made from foam or whatever they make them out of. But the practical effects are great, the atmosphere is great, and honestly, that's why we watch these movies, I feel like. But as far as this movie goes, go check it out. You'll see, like I said, my favorite thing, I'll come back to that just for a second, is the atmosphere. It's the look, especially during the dream sequences, especially during like the flourishes, the artistic flourishes that Alexander takes care of while while Lisa's going through her mind meltdown or whatever you want to call that. But it's really cool. I mean, I could describe it to you, but I'll show you a bit of it on this, on this video. But definitely go check it out. And if you haven't checked it out, and I'm warning you, it's not for everyone, like I said, but his other movies are really, like I said, they're interesting to watch. Just go check them out, see if you like it, because I think if you do, I think if you're a fan of like old school, maybe Italian, Spanish movies, like if you like the color palette of an Argento movie, if you like the style and just the surreal nature of a Jess Franco movie, I think you'll dig these, at least for what they are. And they're all under an hour long. And by the way, this one is barely over an hour. So it's like, if you can watch it, the story doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just a good one. Like I said, I enjoy all these, so maybe I'm the wrong guy to talk to about recommending some of these movies, but I'll tell you what, I sure dig them, and I think you will too. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, all the usual survival tactics for us out here on the front lines of YouTube. Thanks again for watching. I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope you enjoy them too. So with that being said, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.